It's no secret that One Punch Man is a dumpster fire of an anime, but there's been in general a lot of confusion about why exactly the season is the way it is, so I'm not going to waste your time and fluff out this video. I'm going to try my best to briefly walk you through all I've been able to find on this subject and then get you on your way. So hello everybody and welcome back to the Unlucky Block, where I'm contractually obligated to make you pee your pants just a little. So let's go through the timeline. One Punch Man Season 1 was animated by Madhouse and aired October 5th, 2015 to an extremely loving embrace from the anime community. One Punch Man Season 2 aired April 9th, 2019 and was made by JC Staff. The reason for the shift was simply because the manga was coming out too slow and Madhouse had to work on other things, so the timeline didn't really match up. People had mixed feelings about the show because compared to its predecessor, there was a significant drop in quality. Ultimately though, despite the lukewarm reception, One Punch Man Season 2 wasn't a bad season of anime. One Punch Man Season 3 was officially announced in 2022, and 4 years later as of this video being made, we are about 5 episodes into Season 3 and One Punch Man is on track to be one of the worst rated animes of 2025. Obviously people weren't happy about this, and as the internet loves to do, they harassed JC Staff, and now the director has officially quit social media due to the backlash. And also Moist Critical made a video about it, kind of putting the situation into the spotlight, and here we are. So what is the criticism and what exactly is wrong with this season? Well, since it's pretty obvious if you watch the anime for any length of time, I'm going to show you something you probably haven't seen before to illustrate just how objectively bad the season is. This Redditor, which I will link in the description, went through and counted the number of animated frames in One Punch Man Season 3 Episode 1. I won't go in depth on this, but I will highlight the findings here. 20% of the shots contained no animation, 25% of the shots were only mouth movements / talking, and 46% of the shots did contain animation. So given a margin of error of plus minus 5% on some of the numbers, 0.68% of the frames in the 1243 second runtime contained unique non-mouth animations. Keep in mind that this doesn't include the scenes like the Garo animation tweening because there is still technically animation in that shot. So this is just accounting for no animation and not even bad animation. So what's the story behind this? Well, let's dispel some myths first. First off, they brought on a director that has worked on hentais and ecchis to One Punch Man. Weird on paper, but let's take a step back here. This man isn't just a Z-lister that they brought on out of the ethos. This man has worked on projects like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Food Wars, both very beloved shows. The whole joke about the director was just some people making a correlation and then some not nice people accusing him of causation. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not believe he was the right choice for this project, but don't knock his skills as a director because he does objectively have them. So is it a budget issue? Actually no. Make no mistake, One Punch Man Seasons 2 and 3 are not under budgeted for by anime standards. From what I've been able to find, it's been on the side of $2 million, which also keep in mind accounts for the licensing, music, voice actors, promotion, as well as the animation budget, which I've seen close to half the budget at around $960,000. So there shouldn't be a problem with this, seeing as how the animation director of One Punch Man Season 1 tweeted that the season had an average budget which would put it around the same as these two seasons. But there is a problem, and that problem being the quality of the staff and the time they were allotted. The animators that worked on Season 1 were simply just better animators and more driven on the project than the ones at JC Staff and could more aptly handle the property, which incidentally sent the bar into the stratosphere for Season 2. Also consider the fact that a lot of what makes an anime come together well is the ability to plan for what they have to animate and be given ample time to do so. On top of that, all the trailers and promos for One Punch Man Season 3 were pre-made. Meaning that these weren't made for the anime, although they can and did reuse it, they were made with the express purpose of being teasers and not pulled from an episode in production. One Punch Man Season 3 was in pre-production as of, get this, March of 2025. The anime was made in 6 months, funnily enough the exact same time the second season was made, which was also heavily criticized. I do want to say that although the time constraint is a valid complaint to have in favor of JC Staff, I also want to point out this to you guys. Season 2 wasn't horrible. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a far cry from what it was, but all things considered, what I took away from the quality difference was just the change in studios. I didn't attribute anything to a time constraint because I wasn't even aware that there was one. There is a significant quality jump between Seasons 2 and 3, it's practically the difference between getting shot with a BB gun and getting your leg hacked off. So I want to point out that it is okay to recognize that JC Staff is working under some unfortunate conditions and this isn't entirely their fault, but also recognize that they did do this before in Season 2 and all things considered the result wasn't one slideshow man memes. This to me is the most anomalous thing about the situation, which definitely points to either budget or deadline issues we aren't aware of, but under the assumption that the conditions are the same for Season 3 as they were for Season 2, there is no excuse. Look, let's make one thing absolutely clear. This is by all technicalities a fault of JC staff. Saying no to a big ticket project like One Punch Man because they knew they wouldn't be able to do it justice was 100% within their ability, so I do personally believe that they deserve to shoulder the criticism they're gonna get for it. That, however, is not the full story, and ultimately the blame would fall to Bandai for only being willing to fork out enough money to have a low-budget studio work on a property that should have been a higher-budget project. As an animation studio, even knowing you might not be able to fully deliver, it's really hard to say no to these projects. And once you are contracted to work, you have to give them what they want within the deadlines. If you're an animator and your boss shows up and he says, "Hey, animate this fan-favorite character." "Oh cool, when do I have to have it done?" "Oh, just in 2 years to animate? I can definitely do the minutes." Naturally, you're going to draw the defining characteristics and get the basic stuff down, but ultimately deadlines are deadlines no matter how unreasonable, and nobody wants their job on the line. In my opinion, it's honestly super messed up to be serving your staff this, because it's a huge middle finger to them when people come out and criticize their work on something they would never be able to handle in the first place. It's like being told to hammer in a nail and then giving somebody a screwdriver. Sure, they can make it happen, but it's not going to be pretty. So to sum this up, Season 1 had a better animation team and a better time frame. Bandai wasn't willing to give One Punch Man to a studio that would require a big budget. JC staff wanted the project bad enough that they weren't worried about the reputational hit that they would take for having to squeeze out a half-baked product, and the animators and directors are being harassed by the fans because they just physically don't have enough time to make it up to snuff. Alright, if I taught you something today, please like or subscribe. Doing so basically just tells YouTube that you don't mind seeing my videos on your feed. And if you genuinely don't, then it's a win-win for both of us. Also, I'm trying to pass 10k subs because there are multiple AI channels that have a lot more. And that fills me with rage.